Hello again, Tooclevermafia here. Couple of exciting things I wanted to speak to you about today. My automobile has been in the shop getting some work done. Apparently, after about 16 years, your tires tend to rot, dry rot, and don't hold air anymore, and they need to be replaced. So uh, I called the auto club, and what do you know? They don't cover that. Surprising. But anyway, I was hanging out with my grandchildren, and they said, "Grandpappy, you have to go to the store. You should call an Uber." And I said, "Uber?" And I said, "What is that? Is that a timeout of some sort?" No, they said, "It's a taxi, but you use your phone and an app, and you will show you." So they downloaded the application onto my mobile device. They picked out some times and pressed some buttons, and then this person showed up at my door. And I was very, 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 very pleased. Um, I get into the back seat of, I believe it was a Toyota Prius, electric or a hybrid, but I don't know. Very tiny car compared to my car. A little bit too many creature comforts for me. But anyway, there is this chiming happening, and the driver, nice gentleman, says, "Sir, could you please put your seatbelt on?" And that's why the car is chiming. I said, "What do you mean, put my seatbelt on? The car is chiming. Is it singing? Why is it singing?" And they said, "Well, the car knows you do not have your belt buckled, and I prefer my passengers wear their seatbelt for safety." So I said to this driver, I said, "Back in my day, my parents, we drove around in a buggy with horses if we wanted to get somewhere far. Most of the time we walked. As I got older, in the probably 1970s, maybe 60s, time flies. I remember driving around with the children in the station wagon. There were no seatbelts. There were no seatbelts. They sat in the backpack, and they played games. They played games as they were facing the cars coming at us. They didn't even sit forward facing. They sat backward facing, and some of them didn't have seats. Very unsafe by today's standards, but totally acceptable back then. And then we would play games, and they would holler up, and they would say, "Hey, father, we're playing the close game." And I said, "Well, what was the close game?" And the closer game would be, "Well, how close could I stop?" And the car behind would have to stop and get close to the bumper. They enjoyed the cars coming straight at them, close to the bumper. And yeah, it was a fun game. It wasn't a high speed game, but we enjoyed it and we played it. And occasionally at the red light, we would hit the gas, and I would say, "Yay, we're going, rocket fuel, we're going to the moon." And I would hit the gas, and then they would go flying back all up against the back glass and make a quick right or left, and they would go flying left or flying right, and they'd be happy as pie. A couple of bumps and bruises, but no complaints, and perfectly acceptable. Now, I don't know, I'd probably be in prison, but back then it was acceptable. They loved it. And I would say, "Oh, look out, big wave," and I'd say, "The ship needs to turn," and I would turn, and the car would lean to the left, and 6 or 7 in the back would go flying, and the ones on the bench seat facing forward would slide left and slide right, and it was so much fun. It was a easier time back then. And when we got home, and a couple of bangs and bruises, and they would have so much fun, but they always looked forward to going to the next ride with their father. So that's all I have to say about that. And my Uber trip was successful, but apparently you're supposed to tip on the app. That's all I have to say about that. Too clever. Signing off.